Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing well and thank you so much for tuning in. Today I'm going to be doing a dot painting since I haven't done one in a very long time, and for the list of items that I use in this video, check the description below. Also, if this video is too fast, feel free to pause it at any time or you can slow it down by clicking on the video settings. So to get started, I'm going to paint my canvas black, and this paint is new. I ran out of these colors, so I just decided to get some really basic paint. And to get started, I have already drawn down my guidelines. As you guys can see, it's fairly easy and you guys have seen me do it numerous times before. And I'm going to use my big drill bit to add on my first big circle. And if you find that the circle is not centered right, I always find that adding another layer of the dot itself will kind of help put it evenly onto the line. But if you have to redo the dot, don't be afraid to. Next, I'm going to add on some smaller dots by adding a cross with those dots, and then I'll be filling in the areas that are empty with smaller dots until we have a complete circle of small dots. When that is finished, I'm going to use my pointy dotting tool, and I'm going to add some smaller dots in the gaps that we have available. And I don't know why, but I really love the way this effect looks, so I've just been doing it ever since, but I definitely want to experiment more with it, and I encourage you guys to experiment yourself. Afterwards, I'm going to add my first paint to my palette, which is orange, and a bit of yellow to it just to help it liquefy to the right consistency that I want. And using a bigger drill bit, I'm then going to add some circles into the gaps that we have right between those smaller dots that we just finished up doing. I'll be doing this around the entire dot painting, and in the little gaps that we have, I'm then going to go back with that dotting tool that I have, and I'm going to add some smaller dots in between. And really be careful with this part, especially depending on how big those gaps are. You don't want the paint to kind of mix and overlap each other. When I have a full completion of that, I'm then going to add some smaller orange dots to those gaps as well. Afterwards, I'm then going to add some yellow paint to my palette, and I'll loosen it down by adding some white to it. And I went ahead and added some red paint to my palette as well, and this is just some basic red paint. And using my pink dotting tool, I'm going to add some smaller red dots just above those big orange dots that we finished earlier. And I'll be doing this around the entire dot painting. When that is finished, I'm going to use a smaller drill bit, and I'm going to go back to that yellow paint and add a dot right in the dips here that we have. And since this paint was diluted, I did have to use several coats just so that those colors would stand out a bit more. So my camera shut off, but basically I added a red dot to the center dot just to help the center stand out a bit more. And afterwards, I'm then going to go back to that red paint, and I'm going to add a red dot right over those smaller red dots that we had done earlier on. And I'll be doing this around the entire dot painting. Next, I'm going to add a generously sized orange dot to the center of the top of the red dot with my pink dotting tool, and on the sides I'm going to be walking the line so that those dots connect back to those yellow dots. Pause this part if that's a little bit too confusing, and when that part is finished, I'm going to use a bigger drill bit, and I'm going to add a yellow dot just to those dips that we have here. I'm going to move on to our next color, which is just a pinch of green, a little bit of neon paint, and some white paint just to kind of liquefy everything. And I'm going to use my pink dotting tool, and doing the same design that we did with the orange dots just before, we're going to walk the line around the yellow dots, our center dot being the biggest dot, and as we go down, the dots are going to get smaller. So for walking the lines, you when you do the sides, you don't have to keep dipping it unless of course the dots are coming out unevenly. So always keep that in mind, and just make sure the pressure on your dotting tools is just right. Alright, so when that is finished, we're going to do the same design right on top of that. So we're going to be walking the line, our center dot being the biggest, and just to kind of help even out the center dot and make sure that those dots are perfectly circular, I'm going to use my drill bit right on top of it just so that the circle itself is very even. And take your time with this part, especially if you're not used to doing compact designs. Go slowly so that your work will definitely be even in the end. I'm now going to add some purple paint to my palette. This is just regular purple paint, and using a big drill bit, I'm going to add a purple dot right to those dips that we have here, and I'll be doing this around the entire dot painting. Once that is finished, I'm going to use a smaller drill bit, and on the sides of this purple dot that we just finished up, I'm going to add a smaller dot to the sides. Next, I'm going to go ahead with the same tool. I'm going to add some dots right above, about 2 or 3 depending on how big your bigger purple circle is. Take your time with this part because sometimes it does happen where you are not able to fit the right amount of designs into it, so be sure to adjust it if you have to. When that is finished, I'm going to go ahead and use my medium-sized drill bit, and I'm going to add an orange dot right above the green design that we just finished. And after that, I'm then going to use my pink dotting tool, and just like we've been doing throughout this entire dot painting, I'm going to walk the line right over the orange dot that we just did. So I'm now going to move on to using my bigger drill bits, and I'm going to add a big red dot right between the orange dots and right above the purple dot that we just finished. And this is just going to help our dot painting stand out since we have red in the center. Above the red dots, I'm going to add a green dot right above it, and I'll be walking the line, except instead of it being in green, I'm going to use yellow instead, but unfortunately my camera shuts off because it overheated, and so basically I'm just showing you here what it looks like when it's finished. After that is finished, I'm then going to go in with the purple, and I'm going to use a small drill bit, and I'll stick a purple dot right between the gaps that we have. And last but not least, before we finish up, I'm going to use my pink dotting tool, and I'm going to go ahead and add some white dots right above those purple dots that we just did. And I don't show myself adding the second layers that I normally do for my dot paintings just because it would have taken longer, and I want to encourage you guys to try different things yourself. But here's what it looks like when it's finished. I hope you guys like it, and I really love how the colors came out. I'm surprised it looked this good, but I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in and for supporting my channel. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe, have fun, and relax, and I'll see you soon. Bye!